Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, we're working on the Astra again, and today we're going to tackle this. So, this spot of the hood has this weird bubbling rust. So, I don't know what caused it. I don't know why it's there. But, I'm coming up with a plan to try and fix it and mask it without actually doing like a whole lot of actual truly paint repair. And the idea is to essentially try and repair that way the rust is stopped so it doesn't continue to fester down there, because we all know rust doesn't sleep. And then what I was thinking was use this body line that goes up and back there, same thing with this side down through here, and then paint this with black Plastidip. And the black Plastidip will do a lot because it kind of helps cover up any kind of imperfections. So some of these spots where the paint's broken a little bit up here and stuff like that, or it's got rock chips and stuff, it'll help hide some of those. And then if this doesn't come out super perfect, it can help hide some of the weirdness that might be happening here. But to try and tackle this, what I'm first going to do is use some Eastwood products. And basically, the rust converter is pretty cool in that it converts the rust and it turns it kind of like a purplish black. So I use this on the CRX that I have, but that's the only spot I've ever used it. And I used an aerosol before. This is a spray bottle, so it should be interesting to see how it goes. And what I need to do is I need to knock any of the extra paint off and get this down to just rust. Clean it up with this pre. So pre is basically just something that cleans all the weird stuff off of it and helps ensure everything's nice and clean. And then we'll go ahead and spray some of this on. Now, this is interesting because this is essentially good for if it's rusty and purely rusty. If it's not rusty, so any of this area here and around it that I get this stuff on, it'll wind up being really sticky because it won't actually cure the way it's supposed to, because it needs the rust to bond to in order to finish curing. So what I'll wind up doing is I'll wind up clearing this out. That way I can see the rust, just using a whiz wheel. And then I've got the headlight protected with both bubble wrap and some paper towels. So we should be super safe there, just as long as I don't knock any more stuff down. I don't know how rusty it is underneath there, and I don't know how much of this, how deep it goes, but we're about to find out. We got that pretty much all cleaned off. And what I was doing was I was trying to get a little bit of bare metal worked in past the rust. I did a whoops right there. Luckily, that's inside this body line where I was going to hit it with the Plastidip, so we should be good there. But you can see it's fairly pitted with a lot of deep crags and crevices. So this will be interesting to see how it goes. Now, the pre, you just spray on, and then you can wipe it when you're done with like a clean cloth to make sure that everything's off. So I'll just start up here, spray it down this way, hit it from a slightly different angle, and then wash it all down. So now this area here should be pretty well clean. And then we can take a quick clean cloth if we want, and from up high, kind of wipe down and across. So hopefully that'll get anything that might have come down through, and nothing will come down from the rest of the areas into this rusty spot. So now we've got this spray head mounted onto the bottle. Shake it up really good real quick. And we'll give it a quick spritz. Now, if you look on here, it says that this can be either sprayed on like this with a spray bottle, or you can use a paintbrush too. And then you wind up liberally applying it to the corroded surface. And in about 20 minutes, it should start to turn a dark finish. Then apply a second coat and let it cure for 48 hours. So, we'll go ahead and give it a good couple spritz. Whoa! So that looks a lot different than I remember the aerosol looking. But let's check this out in another 20 minutes. And then, as a second test place, I want to spray this spot right here. So this has been cleaned off with brake clean, but that's it. Oh, it's so hard not to just start hitting all the rusty spots trying to see what happens. All right. So completely uncleaned, unbrushed, untreated little squirt. So it's been 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and hit it with a second coat. So same thing with the science experiment down here. So definitely looks darker, just like the hood. Second coat. The rotor, on the other hand, I don't know. But we'll go ahead and dribble. So that's pretty much it for the coats. Both have been treated twice. Well, all three spots have been treated twice. And it'll be interesting to see how they wind up looking in about 2 days. And then, like right now, some of this has started to dry. And some of it hasn't. So I'm just wiping off some of the stuff around the paint, but you can feel that some of it's kind of sticky and tacky. And basically what I'd recommend is just taking and coming through real quick with a rag and cleaning it off with just a little bit. But you can see it doesn't clean it really well. So you put a little bit of pre on a rag and you can come through and wipe again. And you can see it kind of makes it roll up and over. And makes it easier to wipe off. So it almost like rolls up like Elmer's glue when it's on your fingers. But what I'll do is I'll pretty much leave it the way it is. I'm debating doing a third coat just to make sure that this is good and treated. Because if there's a lot of rust, they do recommend possibly doing more than one additional coat. But you can see a lot of this has already changed color pretty good. So hopefully this neutralizes the rust, which will stop it in its tracks. And then this is a polymeric coating that it becomes, which is pretty cool. And then it's water resistant, but it can be top coated right now. Well, as soon as it cures, it can be top coated. So essentially it almost creates a primer surface onto the steel without actually applying any primer. And the idea is that I'm going to take it and either put down a little bit of primer over it, or I'll just top coat straight over it with a little bit of clear coat. And once I get that dried and sealed and stuff like that, then I'll use the Plasta Dip and then go from this line up. And we'll see how that winds up looking. This has been about 1 full week. You can kind of see it's kind of interesting looking. It's fairly dark. There's still a little bit of brown, but I'm wondering if that's just kind of how the camera picks it up and whether or not that's fully converted or not. The neat thing is that everything's pretty much dry, so nothing's sticky. You can see it's a little bit rough. So I'll end up cleaning all that up here in a little bit. But you can also kind of see how some of it ran off and brought some of that black down here. So down here, there's quite a good change too. So that's much darker than it was before. And then again with the camera, it looks browner than it does in the human eye. can kind of see that this changed. And then with the rotor, that looks pretty interesting because it's almost like someone just spilled ink over it. So 1 week in, pretty cool. And definitely some type of result. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'll check you next time. Anyone else think it almost looks like an oyster? So, but it definitely looks like it's been at least somewhat converted compared to what it used to look. Oh, once it primes. Is it on? Now, we've got this spray bottle mounted onto the can, or the bottle.